Tax Appellate Tribunal or ITAT is burdened with huge pendency of cases. In our first episode, our panelists had touched upon the need to manage the supply chain of cases originating from the department. It was emphasized that before authorizing appeals, senior officials need to examine cases on merit and reduce litigation at their end as much as possible. The CIT appeals should be encouraged to function as an independent authority rather than getting integrated into the revenue target realization machinery. It was also suggested that the CBDT should be alert enough to clarify the intent behind any amendment or a provision before litigation becomes chronic. Ideally, both should be preparing a list of all contentious issues and issue guidance note for both the department as well as the assessee. The departmental representatives should be given adequate support and even incentive to strongly defend the revenue cases. Let's now go to our panelists for more animating discussions on many more issues.
Hello and welcome to episode 2 on the burning issues staring into the eyes of ITAT and the policymakers in the Ministry of Law and Finance. In this episode, we are going to discuss about how members of the tribunal are being recruited, whether the existing recruitment procedure needs to be revamped to filter good quality members, how exactly a division bench is formed and members of different stature are clubbed together, how exactly the performance of members is assessed, does the tribunal follow the ACR system, most importantly the infrastructure issue, what can be done to expedite the process of case disposal so that pendency could be brought down to a manageable level. So what has been generally the principles in case of a division bench when you have two members? Is it the inherent principle that one member is a check on the other member in terms of applying their mind to issues? What is the principle?
Not a check. They both contribute according to their knowledge. One is accountancy based person, the other is a legal based person.
Right, sir.
So far as the law part is concerned, he is better.
So they are complementing each other at the same time, they are the check. If they are the check. But what will happen in this case, sir? He is 20-year old member and I am a baby now and I am sitting with him.
There is no question of 20 years.
So I will be able to contribute anything?
I don't think.
It's a very valid question. It must be addressed.
No.
Your question is absolutely correct. You see, I'll tell you. That's where, yes, sure.
Sir.
The person who are appointed, they have a sufficient number of experience in profession or as a judge. If he is a judicial member, then either he comes from the judge, district judges, or from the profession, from advocates. But 15 or 10 years practice is necessary for that.
Yes, sir.
So
that is the minimum qualification.
They are not a baby at that time. They know enough. But the procedural aspects are learnt sitting with the senior member.
No, sir. Procedural is another dimension. So I am looking at some of the technical areas where,
I'll tell you. According to me, what would happen? I have never known the bench. I would say, you see, what is expected in a DB? What the expectation is that the senior member conducts the bench. And the healthiest tradition is that if the junior member has a question to ask, he seeks leave of the senior member or just even looks at him, the senior member nods and he asks. Because that's the only way you'll be able to get the best out of it or you'll have a better understanding. Now, this very basic, fundamental conduct in the court is alien to some, which should be. Then what happens? Once the case is all understood, they have their own register, they keep noting the points that they have raised, in whatever manner. Then both of them go and sit in the chamber together, where the cases are marked to whoever has to. It is the senior member who marks the case to the junior or to himself.
Right.
Generally, the healthy tradition is the junior member says, I have understood this case well. There is never a problem, never an issue on that front at all. They are magnanimous enough. And then then there is a broad understanding, discussion that, well, we feel that this case is to be allowed on these broad parameters and it's left to the member to write the judgment. So when the judgment comes, the senior member looks at it, he wants to add, he adds, and then they decide. This is the way it goes. So there is never any serious conflict. On the table it may look that there is one man who is completely dwarfing the other, but no. The one who is younger has a say and a 50% say at that.
Absolutely, yes.
Sometimes they come up with better ideas.
Of course, merely because they are young, they are not deprived of ideas.
Yes.
But the fact is, sir, that does it happen in reality? This is what I am trying to understand.
It is not happening in reality.
That is what, sir, I am asking. That if I have a difference of opinion with this senior gentleman,
He is a little wary of doing so.
so I will. Do you
If
think
you have a difference of opinion, there is a provision that he can write a different order, then it goes to
Provision
the
is
third
there,
member.
that is correct, sir, I
It
agree
goes
with
to the
you.
third member, and third member decides who is right and who
but
is
sir,
not.
quality people are joining the tribunal, as member judicial, sir. In fact, somebody who is pretty successful, who has been lawyering for several years, they have a very good practice. They are not coming. So who all are coming? If they are coming, are they able to contribute to the overall?
Before that, with due respect, and I completely believe that whoever comes to the tribunal is the very best, because the four eminent people who go, they go all over the places, they interview them. But I still believe that this institution, you see, whoever joins till the age of 62. So let's say if somebody joins at 40, he is going to be there for 22 years. Now, if for any mistakes can be, if by mistake you have picked up somebody who has a particular inclination, who is not able to come up to that level, you've had it.
Right.
I would say to iron out, to reduce the chance of picking up such individuals, an interview for 15 minutes is just not enough. One may just have the answers for the questions that you have put in.
Right.
What do you need for a good member of the tribunal? You need somebody who is articulate, in the sense who is able to write,
Right.
who has some experience on the judicial side,
Right.
may it be in the tax side or somewhere else,
Correct.
who has a good expression,
Right.
and who has a balanced view. Now, if somebody is given a real life situation and asked to write 2 pages or 3 pages on what his view is, you can easily make out what is his inclination, what is his bent. I'm not saying that could be the criteria,
Right.
but I'm saying that it has to be a little more elaborate. Probably you could out of the 800 people you look at, identify 200 or 150, have them to go through a little more rigorous procedure and get the best out of them, rather than to just pick up 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 and just what. I thought maybe it could happen in a few more stages. Screening process could be more rigorous.
Right.
There is a procedure in the tribunal that when you make an application, if you are practicing side, you have to give 10 orders which you have argued according to you are the best. From reading that, your arguments, they can judge where you are. Similarly, for judges and from the commissioners, they take the orders that what you have written, whatever orders you have decided, send a copy
Sir,
of
do you think all the members of the tribunal who are selected have had 10 orders or 15, 20 orders which they have argued? There may not be. There may be some who who are otherwise brilliant. They may not have argued a single case. There are cases, so many of them.
No, process.
Right,
secondly, order is not a very clear reflection.
Appointment process, order may not
It
be.
may not be.
There are tribunal decisions which do not at all record what the
Another very interesting dimension is the transfer of the members. How fair it is. I find, sir, sometimes some of the best, probably one of the best members could be given in places like, maybe, very languishing, very small places where section 68, 60, 69.
They may be piling over there. They were not there for 6 months, 8 months, have no case.
Imagine. Sir, this kind of transfer policy, nobody monitors it. There is no system of performance appraisal of the tribunals, how exactly, they function and somebody looking at.
We have a golden opportunity now. We have a law secretary.
Right.
Who has been a member of the tribunal, who knows the tribunal like the back of his hand, one of the most sagacious, brilliant persons who is willing to give whatever you ask for. Now, I personally feel that as far as the transfer matter is concerned, there is a fair degree of concentration of power in one hand, which has to go, which has been in the past. There is one man who decides. On paper, it is supposed to be consultative, it is not. Now, unless you involve all the vice presidents, take their inputs. You know what's the problem today? The problem is there is no ACR of any tribunal member which is being written. You don't know so it is only on the basis of what the vice president thinks. So why wouldn't you call the vice president?
But this is major flaw in the recruitment rule itself, sir. There should be a performance appraisal.
It has been dispensed because of the Madras High Court.
Because of the Madras High Court decision.
Oh, my God.
Because they said that since you are sitting with the president, he should not write your right. He is equal to.
So, sir, I feel that all the vice presidents. Firstly, you should have all the vice presidents. Now we haven't had a single promotion since 2009 of a vice president. Not a single promotion.
So that's
out of the 9, we have only 4 today. And out of the 4, there is one who is going to retire in the next 3-4 months. Somebody has to take it to the law ministry. They are willing to do it. Somebody has to sit with them. And then what should happen? Ideally, the consultation should be real. The vice president should be there. The president should be just one of the 8, 9 who should discuss. They should talk about members. They should discuss what somebody's forte is. And as he very rightly said, you should not be chained only by the number of years somebody has put in.
correct. Absolutely.
Put him there. Put him at the very best place. This is a fundamental flaw. That's also one of the reasons why you have so much of demoralization which seems to have set into this very great institution.
This number of years practice at a particular station is the creation by the Supreme Court. They have put at 5 years, more than 5 years, a person should not be at one place.
Okay, sir. This issue, of course, is a very contentious issue. This brings us to a recent Bombay High Court decision, sir. How exactly the special bench, the High Court apparently lambasted the way it was set up, and they found that, that there has been a flagrant violation of the basic fundamental canons of judicial precedents, and, the special bench, the way it was set up. So, what is normally, should be treated as an aberration, sir? That it can be ignored, it just happened one case, or
I think so only aberration.
Otherwise,
It's an aberration.
It's an aberration.
Fixed norms are there for constituting a special bench. That is, one is, if there is a difference of opinion between 2 benches, then a special bench is constituted to resolve that difference.
Right, sir.
Or any public important issue is there, which involves large number of appeals, then President has the power to constitute a special bench to regulate those appeals.
But sir, does it happen often that the board members get involved in this kind of recommending
must have been in a
that is only a request.
Of course, the board member can always request.
No decisions which do not at all record what the...
No, and it is, when you go through it, it is a little distressful. It is. I mean, you don't like it the way the things have unfolded. But I'll tell you, this is the beauty of our system. Now look how the Bombay High Court has come up on it. Now it is an indicator to all, whoever is to ever come in, that try doing it and you know what the consequence is going to be. So of course but these things do happen in a system, though shouldn't, not at that level, not at that
Right.
level.
That brings us to a very vital issue, sir, the infrastructure side. No, as sir, you have been lawyering there now. You have been, the president of the bar. As a bar president, you have a lot of onus on your head. You have so many members demanding, expecting minimum. Sir, in the court itself, you probably looked for better infrastructure. So, sir, how bad it is and what needs to be done? I mean, ultimately, this is a forum which is contributing so hugely and richly to the exchequer,
Sir,
and it doesn't have the fund for the basic.
There is so much of fatigue. Writing every day about the infrastructure.
The courtroom of the high bench, if you happen to see where transfer pricing matters are heard. I mean, I wonder, it may be a matter of some institute like Harvard University to make a study how the bench clerk takes out the paper book and the appeal folder for a particular assessment.
And if you're not an Olympic swimmer, you can't wait to the time, sir.
Yeah.
The
members, how they walk, how they walk to their podium.
Such an institution where, look at these members, every day they hear 20, 30, 40 cases. They go back, they dictate orders, and we give them whatever left, right and center we can. Every fact we expect them to record. The kind of hard work they have to put in.
Yes.
Imagine sitting in a courtroom where you have this sort of tragedy. You have windows which are broken, the air conditioners are not working. Sometimes suddenly there's an electric failure and they are sweating and still sitting. There are cases where the courtrooms have caught fire.
I remember one incident at Ahmedabad. We shifted from one building to another building and there was no electricity for 7 days. We hold benches in those days with the sunlight.
But sir, what
That-
is the
that is the
mentality, sir?
difficult.
Maybe you could perhaps, you have seen this side of, the policy making.
No,
You have interacted with the
nothing wrong in
finance
the policy.
minister,
There is
etc.
nothing in the government. I mean, any policy
Then
which says
who
no.
will do it, sir?
I mean, it's a matter of taking the initiative and the right.
But who will take the initiative?
No, initiative, I'll tell you, it is very simple. As I again told you, we meet the law secretary. He's there, he's sitting. He says, come. The president is so overburdened. You have to think, you have to constitute a committee. Or you have to have somebody of stature who is looking after the administration. Somebody goes, sits there, bring in his requirements, delegate authority.
Yes.
No, why should you be signing checks for 10,000 rupees sitting there at one place?
Absolutely.
Give it to the vice president, give it to the members. Can you not trust them with 10,000 or 5,000 rupees?
Certainly one should be. Ultimately it should be delegated.
Let them. If curtains have to be changed, how much does it cost?
Yes.
Not more than 15,000-20,000. Let them do it. Chairs have to be brought in. 500 rupees is a chair, the cost of a chair. Why? What is the problem?
Is it? They don't have the powers.
They have to take the sanction.
Officially, power is given to the vice president, but it is very low amount.
Probably
very low amount.
pittance.
Yes. And go to the ministry. They are there.
That's a
That
matter.
reform is required.
That-
So that is where, an institution like this can be
And it won't take
to be
time.
truly independent when it has all the financial
And
power.
I don't think it should take any time. These are minor things which can be done.
But on a happier note, I feel we have at the president now somebody who is who's been a judge of the High Court for 7 years. At least we've been able to tell him so many things. If you come to our bar room, you will find that we now have a display board where in the bar room, sitting in the bar room, you know which case is running where. Those sort of reforms.
Some initiatives have been taken.
Yes,
Mr. Wadhwa, you should also fight for the court masters because tribunal doesn't have the assistance of the court masters.
Right.
Everything they have to do themselves.
But what is the level of computerization, sir, in the tribunal?
Oh, that's really bad.
Computerization is initially for the filing of appeal, fixing of appeal, but it doesn't help.
Then
in,
it stops.
it
Not
stops.
for the internal.
Stops there.
Sir, this is an issue which we should have discussed in the very first. Pendency, everything will go away, will come down to manageable levels if you have everything by the e-route. Now in the High Court, what is happening?
Correct.
They sit with that on the table. They have all the judgments there, flipping
Right.
the judgments there.
Right.
Paper books are coming in that form.
Correct.
Now, if 50,000 pages can be concise and they come through the e-route, you have all these problems gone.
Absolutely.
We should take it at a war footing, considering
Absolutely.
the pendency. That's the answer.
Delhi-
actually, as
That is
far
the
as-
answer.
In
Absolutely.
fact, Delhi High Court has done that
System
very
is
well.
there.
Yes,
Very
I
well.
know, sir. Good number of high courts have done it.
System is there in the tribunal, but probably it is not.
No, I remember that initial thing of,
Yes.
in fact, even taking the appeals in that manner, your brainchild.
It took me about 6 years to bring it on board. And
sir-
even then, only half-heartedly. Then filing of appeal and fixing of
It
appeal.
remained at that, nothing more than that.
So, sir, ITAT is not going to get any fund out of the e-court initiative of the Prime Minister and
Why?
some funds.
Why can't it get?
But they should also get some fund.
And if not from that, the ministry can allot the funds.
The Ministry of Law
That's
can
not
do
an
that,
issue.
yes.
It is not
Absolutely.
That's
But
not
now
an
it's
issue.
terribly neglected.
That's not an issue. I think somebody has to take it up.
So, sir, I mean, before we wrap up, sir, one important issue which is there in my mind is that out of this 108,000 cases, one step which you would like to suggest to drastically reduce the pendency, probably identify, for instance, like, sir, the tax effect is very minimal, low amounts are involved, unnecessarily choking this pipeline in the tribunal. What will be your suggestion, sir? Maybe.
No, in the past also we have been doing like this, that we were allocating the file subject-wise. Suppose on one subject there are 100 files. They are put together, fixed
bunching,
together,
yes, sir.
bunching is there.
Right, rightly suggested.
That is one subject-wise.
Yes, sir. Right.
The other was area-wise. Suppose small stations are there, small appeals are there.
Right.
But if they are at, suppose Surat is there, only about 500 appeals are there. If they are tagged with Ahmedabad, their number will come, we don't know how many years thereafter.
Right.
But then we send the benches there, touring benches there. They dispose of the cases then and there, and we get a good number of disposal there.
But this will be a little long drawn exercise. You are sending it, you are setting a circuit bench and then hearing the case disposal. So slowly, then you get a fresh lot of appeals. Maybe this is something in one go, something could be done so that
I
the
think,
tribunal is able to breathe properly.
I think bunching is the very, very effective way and could be faster way of doing it.
And e-filing. And
e-filing.
Not only e-filing but e-prosecuting. Everything to be on in that manner.
Database is there in the computer. Yes. You can filter out that how many appeals are there on one subject.
Or should the government come out with some schemes, whereby this small cases could be disposed of quickly? Maybe a high-powered committee could be set up by CBDT.
That will not
invite
work.
the SSCs and this.
Small cases.
The situation is not very alarming. It's not very, very alarming. And you will soon see, because now we have almost a complete bench strength. We haven't had so many members for a very long time.
Right.
We've recently got about 35, 36 members. You will see things happening. I just hope that filing of frivolous appeals is curtailed. That is one. And also, as Mr. Srivastava suggests, just to give you an example, earlier on, there was a provision where when a search takes place, you will have a block assessment, one assessment order for 6 years, which is called a block assessment order. Now, that law was reasonably settled, but amended to say that when there is a search, 6 separate assessments will be passed in respect of 6 years. Now what happens? Now in one search,
right,
if you have 10 assessees, you have got 60 assessments. 10 is nothing. There are at least 50, 60 assessees.
6 penalty also.
And 6 penalties.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So look at this. I mean, it is a completely senseless measure. And you will have assessments in respect of even those years for which there is no evidence of concealed income. But you will have to make an assessment.
Yes, absolutely.
So it is that basic policy. Somebody has to sit there, think far, and then decide.
But
Not these ad hoc measures.
now the single member power is also increased, no?
So that's right. And now, in fact, the Honorable President has directed that you should have 2 single member benches where the stakes are less than 10 lakhs and dispose them of very quickly.
Yeah, that will quicken.
He has started to look in a very serious way.
Quicken.
There is no need to sit 2 members together.
Yes.
One single member can
Small cases can be disposed.
So on this note, let me thank my distinguished guest for contributing to this very rich and healthy discussion. And I am pretty confident, as suggested by all the 3 panelists here, that the Honorable Finance Minister, the CBDT, the Law Minister, the Law Secretary, on all those, even the highest temple of justice, the Supreme Court of India, will take note of it. The valuable suggestion coming from all the key stakeholders of this great institution. The tribunalization of justice has indeed done very well for this country. Computerization, everybody talks about computerization today, but ITAT, which is the forum where huge amount of revenue is stuck for various regions, without looking at the supply line, how frivolous the appeals are, etc. But if there is a disposal machine which is able to dispose it efficiently, effectively, efficaciously, that machine needs to be strengthened, and that is not being done. Certainly, nobody can say that there is lack of fund. The resources are there. Ultimately, it's a revenue earning hand, and that must be taken care of, must be fed well if the finance minister wants more revenue. So that is one aspect. The infrastructure needs to be taken care of. The infrastructure is a very fundamental incentive which should be given. If at all it is to be treated as incentive, but infrastructure cannot be treated as incentive, but let it be an incentive so far as ITAT and other stakeholders are concerned. Then the recruitment side, of course, new members have joined. Hopefully, as Mr. Wadhwa expects that the disposal will be much faster. The cases, the pendency will come down faster in coming months. Let's hope so. The justice is dispensed faster. Delayed justice is denial of justice. All of us know that. But the CBDT side, unfortunately, so many finance ministers have come, but they have not really applied their mind and given the basic facility of R&D hands. There has to be a research and development cell which could assist the policymakers. Let's hope that the performance of this great institution which has been giving service and its Platinum Jubilee celebration next year truly turns out to be a big celebration for all the stakeholders, with its performance going up, its dignity, the glorious past is restored, and all the stakeholders come out of that, the great institution, with biggest smile on their face. Thanking you all for watching TIOL Tube.